creating cultural awareness and understanding. This is Culture Clique. Culture Clique is written and produced by KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University.
September was Rail Safety Month, and today on Culture Clique we speak with Sheryl Cummings, Director of Minnesota Operation Lifesaver. Sheryl tells us what Operation Lifesaver is, what the organization does for communities, and how you can get involved in your own community. The message is simple: see tracks, think train. Stick around. I'm Bill Stoneberg with Minnesota Operation Lifesaver Director Sheryl Cummings. Today on Culture Clique. Hello, Sheryl. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
Good. Very good. Very good. Trying to stay safe out there. We have a lot of train tracks here in Winona, so especially right next to campus. So this is, I think, very good information for people. First off, can you just kind of describe for us what actually is Operation Lifesaver and what do you guys do?
Operation Lifesaver is actually an international organization, of independent organizations, I should say, but we're international in scope. Minnesota obviously is an independent 501c3 nonprofit here in the state of Minnesota. We are considered a member organization of Operation Lifesaver Incorporated, which is our national organization. They help bring together partners all across the country and beyond to develop our educational resources and materials that we use to raise awareness and provide free education to the public, people of all ages, about making safer decisions around tracks or trains. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, about every 3 hours, a person or a vehicle is hit by a train in this country alone.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, I was looking at some of the statistics, and it's quite surprising. It's because it's something that's not in the forefront of our minds all the time, you know. How did you yourself get involved with the organization?
I personally have been here for about 8 years. I was newly moved back to Minnesota. Obviously, a state near and dear to my heart. Most of my life spent here, and was at home with 2 little babies and looking for a way that I could be making a difference in my community when this opportunity came up, and I had fond memories of Operation Lifesaver volunteers coming to my classroom when I was a very young child to talk about how to make safe decisions and how to prevent tragedies, and that was kind of the deal right there. I knew this was where I was supposed to be. Nice,
very nice. How about speaking of like volunteer events and things like that? Like, what kind of events do you guys hold, and what kind of things do you do to educate the public?
So throughout the year, we have volunteers all across the state. We're always looking for more volunteers of any age. We provide free training, and we provide access to all of our nationally developed materials. We help people develop and their speaking skills. We help them build connections within their own communities and really make a difference. But we provide presentations both in person and virtual to children, to school groups, to driver's ed, to school bus drivers, to professional drivers. We even have programs that are specifically designed and post-credited for law enforcement and first responders. So we really do speak to everybody. And with Rail Safety Week especially, we try to highlight all of the different things that we have available as an organization and cram them all into 1 week. So it's been a busy week, and we're really excited. We're kind of wrapping it up here today and through the weekend, mm-hmm. and we're just really excited about the impact that we've made. And it's actually in the state of Minnesota Rail Safety Awareness Month, so we'll kind of be wrapping that up at the beginning of next week as well. But we're just so happy to have the partners that we do across the state. In Winona particularly, we were down this week, and we just couldn't be more happy with the amount of support. We were met with the chief of police, the sheriff's department, the police, the fire department, the city council, and city councilman Brzezicki came down, and I may have mispronounced that name, so please forgive me. That's a challenging one.
I think we all do at times.
And obviously the new mayor, Sherman, also came down as well. we were most happy to also welcome the provost from the Winona State University and the Winona State University paper as well. And we just had a great showing of support all around town. What we have been working on specifically, if I can jump into that topic now,
sure. Definitely.
is we have, we call it a sidewalk stenciling program. So our key safety message is a pretty straightforward one. It's see tracks, think train. Because as you had mentioned, it's so easy for us to become complacent, especially if you live in an area where you start to see trains on a regular basis or the tracks. The reality is that we're at highest risk of getting into an incident or something happening when we're crossing tracks that we see on a regular basis.
Right.
Because, again, we get complacent, we get distracted, we get busy. We all do. It's not a matter of, your personality or who you are. It's just something that happens to all of us. And so what we've been doing is, particularly in areas where you have a lot of pedestrian traffic, which obviously Winona does, which is fantastic. But we have this sidewalk stencil program, and what we do is we go to a community, we get their support, and then we put these sidewalk stencils down. We spray it directly onto the sidewalk, and it is our See Tracks, Think Train message. That way, when we're walking and possibly looking down at our phones or a mobile device or talking with our friends as we're walking, we're going to see that on the ground in front of our feet. And that's going to be that gentle reminder that hopefully somebody might need in order to make sure that they stop and look before they cross those tracks.
Right. I think there's two things, too, that really struck me there that, it's on the sidewalk. So like you said, if we're like looking at our phones, things like that, you're gonna catch that. And also that, I think, some people might ask, well, why not just put up more signs that say that? But then, like you mentioned, we get complacent when we see these things all the time and we're around it, So I think it's important to have those extra little signs sometimes, just to keep that in mind that, hey, stay safe because, just because you're around this all the time, well, tomorrow could be a mishap, so.
Absolutely. And that's one reason why it's been a great opportunity for us. We try to prioritize coming down to the Winona area during our Rail Safety Week because it is a big week for us and obviously an important community for us we've been partners with for many years. And with putting those stencils down, not all the time, as you mentioned, not having a permanent sign, it's something that's new and it's something that attracts the attention because it's not there all the time.
Right. Definitely. I want to go back a little bit. You mentioned virtual events as well. Will those be available to view, like, say, online, like after Rail Safety Week and Rail Safety Month?
So we don't have anything recorded at this time,
okay,
but we do offer our presentations virtually. So if, for example, there is a class or a group or an organization that's looking, even a company, we do plenty of presentations for companies or for, like extracurricular groups as well. But we have presentations and materials for all types of ages and all types of audiences, and we can provide those virtually, whether that be via like a Google Meet or a Zoom. We also have literally hundreds of materials on our website, which is oli.org. That one's pretty easy to remember.
Yeah.
And we have free videos for all ages. We have free lesson plans for educators and for student educators. And we love to share that with as many people as we can.
Yeah. How about, you did mention volunteers before too. If someone goes to the website, will they be able to volunteer there? And what kind of opportunities are there for volunteers?
Absolutely. So if you go to oli.org, on the top there, one of the first things you're going to see is volunteer for OL. It's a pretty straightforward process. Like I said, we do try to provide as much guidance and training for people as possible because we really want them to be able to have the tools they need to develop into community leaders, really, to be able to speak to their peers and to others about making safe decisions around tracks and trains. So the way our volunteer process works is it starts off as a virtual process. You fill out an application. There's an online module that takes half an hour, maybe an hour for some people. Just depends on how much time you put into it. And then we have what we call face-to-face training. We have been doing those via Zoom as well. So it does not matter where you are located, which is actually, frankly, for our organization, a huge benefit.
Right.
Because you don't have to worry about people traveling or getting as much time off of work and all of that sort of thing. You can just set, a 3-hour block of time and just talk to each other face-to-face, virtually, that is.
Right.
But we really try to give you as much material and guidance as possible there, and that's really just the start of the journey.
Right.
From that point, volunteers kind of transition to working directly with me about what their goals are, who they want to reach out to, and, what kind of guidance they need. And, those opportunities can really vary. We have some people that join our group and stay with us for years, and the only thing that they like to do is go to like a state fair or an event where they can be in a big event and talk to lots of people. And there are other people who really like to, talk to, adults. So there are other people who really like to talk to kids.
Right.
And we're always open to having volunteers who want to provide us with some other skills. If there are volunteers that have skills in writing or in, if they know how to use social media or they want to write grants or other types of things like that. There's lots of opportunities for volunteering.
Nice. So there's opportunities all over in the organization with any kind of level then. And
and all over the state, too.
Yeah, and all over the state. I was just going to say, and I really like that it's that you can get virtual training because that just shows like it's not just for, say, like Winona. It could be a smaller community that has a railroad going through it, and you just want to talk to your neighbors and fellow citizens about safety. So that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. And that's oli.org, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Yep.
and I'm assuming that's Operation Lifesaver Initiative.
Operation Lifesaver Incorporated.
Incorporated.
Yeah.
I was close.
That's our national office.
Okay. Fantastic.
That's actually a really cool thing about it is that when you apply to become a volunteer, you actually apply to our national office. And then depending on what state you live in, your state coordinator, like myself, would be the person who would work with you directly and coordinate your experience and your journey as a volunteer. But because we're a national program, once you're through that process, you actually can volunteer anywhere in the country.
Oh, wow.
So it's actually a nationwide project in that respect, which is great for college students because, if you may not live in Minnesota full time, you might be from a different state.
Right.
If you're going to school in Winona, you could be from a different part of the state or even a different state altogether.
Oh, that is fantastic. There are opportunities literally for everyone, aren't there? I just want to kind of give a shout out there. Any students, Winona State or otherwise, that are listening, this could be a very good opportunity for you to volunteer for a good organization and get a little travel in and meet some people.
Our Rail Safety Month, we'll be wrapping up at the end of September.
Okay. Sounds good. And that's every year is September, and is it like kind of roughly the last week in September is Minnesota's week then, or?
Yep, absolutely. It's usually the month of September is Rail Safety Awareness Month. For us in Minnesota, we felt like we really wanted to be able to expand our opportunities to really highlight those things that we're doing. And Rail Safety Week is generally the last full week of September every year. And actually, it's North American Rail Safety Week.
Okay.
Canada, Mexico, and the United States all recognize it the same week.
Okay, nice. Are there volunteer opportunities across the borders like that to like Canada or Mexico? Or?
Because we are under the umbrella of our national office, Operation Lifesaver Incorporated. All of our opportunities are within the United States.
Okay.
However, you can always contact Operation Lifesaver Canada, or the Federation of Railroads in Mexico, who manages the Operation Lifesaver program down there.
Okay, nice. I've been talking to Sheryl Cummings. She's the Executive Director of Minnesota Operation Lifesaver. It is part of the national organization Operation Lifesaver, Inc., and the website corresponds to that. It's oli.org if you want more information. There's tons of volunteer opportunities, and it's just a great organization because it's something we should all keep in mind is railroad safety. So thank you so much for joining us today, Sheryl.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to speaking with you every year, and really excited to hear what people have to say about some of the stuff on the website there, too.
Right. And we'll look out for those chalk stencils on the around the railroad tracks around town here.
Fantastic. I hope you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks again to Minnesota Operation Lifesaver Director Sheryl Cummings for joining us today on Culture Clique. For more information on rail safety and Minnesota Operation Lifesaver, go to oli.org. To keep up on all things Winona and the surrounding area, tune into Culture Clique Thursdays at 12:30 right here on 89.5 KQAL. I'm Bill Stoneberg, and we've been talking about rail safety with Minnesota Operation Lifesaver Director Sheryl Cummings on Culture Clique.
Creating cultural awareness and understanding. You've been listening to Culture Clique. Support for Culture Clique is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Culture Clique is produced by KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University. For more information, look us up on the web at kqal.org. And thanks for listening to Culture Clique.